Hello, welcome to Farrell Swim Tech. My name is John Farrell. This is the weekly live stream here on Team Zoot's Facebook page, where I take my 15 plus years of competition knowledge and 12 years plus of coaching experience and help you get faster in the pool. So today's discussion is going to be more about breathing. Oh boy, here you go. Hey. At least I got through the intro before my first yawn, okay? So these live streams start typically somewhere around 5:15 a.m. Pacific time. So, yeah, last night I'll openly admit I did not get a lot of sleep. So I may be yawning just a little bit more during today's stream. But don't worry, I'm going to get you all the good information you need to know about breathing. So today's discussion isn't really going to be about technique. You know, we've already discussed the technique of pushing the arm back, rotating the head, and then as the arm comes over, you put it back in the water. And I touched on more of the kind of best practices with breathing, where if you're swimming in the pool, you know, you want to be able to control your breathing. You don't just want to haphazardly gulp air down. So the first thing we need to think about is really kind of like what are the differences between cycling and breathing and cycling and breathing and running and breathing in the water. So breathing on the run or the bike, you know, there's kind of two main schools of thought. Number one, just kind of keep your mouth open, you know, or breathe in through your nose, you know, because you don't really have to worry about that interface between the water and the air. Wow, that kind of made me a little dizzy. So, oh crap, this is gonna be a rough one. This is gonna be a rough stream. I do apologize. Apologize in advance. So when we breathe in swimming, we have a interface point between the water and the air. So in swimming, it's actually more recommended that you close your mouth in between breaths. Now, breathing in through your nose can be rather problematic. So 100% I recommend you only breathe in through your mouth, okay? So breathing in through your nose can happen during backstroke, okay? If you're swimming backstroke, breathing in through your nose is actually okay. Or you just wear nose plugs like I do and just breathe through your mouth. So mostly a lot of swimmers only breathe in and out through their mouths. Just because if you breathe in through your nose, you run the risk of snorting in water, which is absolute the worst. Like getting water up your nose is just one of my most hated parts of swimming. It burns so bad. So I highly recommend starting to train yourself to breathe through your mouth. Now, I have one client right now. She's about 7 years old. And one of her biggest problems is actually breathing. Well, she's got two big problems. Number one, breathing consistently. Number two, keeping her legs kicking. Poor girl has no leg strength. So, like, having her consistently kick for an entire 25 is actually a little hard. But on the breathing front, I've actually been specifically working with her on breathing out underwater. So she dips her face below the water, breathes out, brings it up, breathe in, and then breathe out, and then breathe in. So what you're looking for is just becoming comfortable pushing air out underneath the water. Now, I understand it seems like I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but this is all actually interconnected. So when you are breathing, you're going to have your mouth outside and you're going to take your breath in. And then you're going to close your mouth, roll down, and then push the air out by opening your mouth or pushing it out your nose, whichever one's more comfortable. Because underneath the water, what we're focused on is getting the air out. A lot of people actually do have a problem with this, and you're not adequately breathing that air out just like you would on the bike or on the run. Because if you think about it this way, if you're only pushing out half of the air, you're trying to only breathe in. You're trying to only breathe in half of your lung capacity worth of air. So we need to train our mind and our body to be able to push the air out and then bring the air back in. So 2 things greatly affect this. Number 1, your capacity to push air out. Number 2, your capacity to... Actually, it's 3 things now that I think about it. Pushing air out, drawing air in, having enough time to draw air in. Okay? And honestly, enough time to push air out. So what you need to do is you need to take some time and visualize this outside of the water. Next time when you're on your run, when you're on the bike, what you really need to do, Armin van Buren invited me to his broadcast channel. I'm honored, but okay. So anyway, what you're doing is next time you're on your run or on the bike, pay attention to how much you're breathing out. You're not focused on anything, specific, like, okay, I'm pushing out all the air. No. Just when you are active, figure out how much air you're pushing. And things that you want to look for is kind of chest tightness of, how much you feel your rib cage kind of push in a little bit as you expel that air. So remember, when we push air out, our lungs are contracting. So that's going to kind of compress everything on the upper half of us underneath the rib cage. So kind of figure out how much air you're pushing out. And then when you breathe in naturally while running, kind of how much does your rib cage expand? How much do you feel that diaphragm pushing the lungs or pushing down and expanding the lungs? Just kind of feel that, because that's going to be your natural baseline. And that is what we're trying to recreate in the water. So what you're going to want to do is focus in on that on your next run or training run. And then you're going to be getting in the pool. And then once you get in the pool, what you need to do is spend time going under the water, pushing out until you feel the same tightness inside. Now, this might feel slightly different because of buoyancy. However, in my opinion and in my travels, I have not seen a difference between how I breathe on the bike and how I breathe under the water. Just saying, some of you might be thinking this. It's not going to affect you that much. The buoyancy factor of water is not going to affect how much pressure your internal lungs are putting on your body. So you can basically use the run or the bike as a solid baseline, and that will be able to help keep you in line with what you're doing. So you're going to get in the pool. You're going to work on that baseline, all right? So the next thing that you want to do is you want to be swimming with a kickboard, okay? You grab a kickboard, grab it at the bottom, and then what you're going to be doing is you're going to kick, put your face down and kick while you're basically going to do single arm freestyle. So you're going to put your face down, kick, pull, take your breath, kick, pull, take your breath, okay? So specifically what you're training your body to do is to be able to push the air out while your face is in the water and you're kicking, And then as you bring your head out to the side, you're going to breathe in that same amount of air to the same amount of tightness in your under your rib cage that you did on the bike. So this is what we're trying to work on here. We're trying to develop ways to where we can more normalize our breathing between the three disciplines. Because for a lot of people, they struggle with the swim because number one, your mechanics simply don't allow you to take that breath like you want to. In other words, you're flailing through the water and you just kind of gulp in just a fraction, maybe half, maybe 3/4, because even 3/4 of a breath in is still 3/4 of a breath. Over time, that's really gonna wear you down. The best swimmers are the ones that are able to normalize their breath between the three disciplines. Now, I know for me personally, what I do is I wind up pushing the swim harder than I would maintaining that same thing, because I know what my physical strength is capable of in the water. And I understand that, yes, my heart rate's going to be a little more elevated, but that's a known quantity for me. I know that elevating my heart rate slightly in the water, now I don't have any real empirical evidence on what that is, but just rate of perceived exertion, where I know that I can go harder in the water, but it's not going to really affect me that much on the bike, because I know that within about 2 miles, my heart rate's back under control. 1 second. But for a lot of people, when you get on in that swim leg, you really start to deteriorate, and I think a huge reason why is because with the beginner stroke, it's not efficient. And the big reason is you're not intaking enough oxygen, and you're not expelling enough carbon dioxide. So that is a recipe for wearing you down a lot faster than you can think, because the lactic acid is going to start developing in your system a lot quicker, because you have a lot of residual CO2 inside of your body. So what we're doing with improving our quality of breaths, okay, this isn't about how to breathe how to breathe longer, but this discussion is more geared towards quality of breaths. So now, how do we train this? So you can hop on the bench and you can kind of put your hand to the side. Actually, no. I was thinking about this earlier, but now that I really think about it, hopping on the bench isn't really going to do you any good. Most of your training is going to be just kind of focusing on your tri-lines. Hey, sorry. I'm sorry. Last night's sleep is starting to get to me. I do apologize. So focusing on how you breathe, what are your body cues, is what you're going to want to do for dry land. So, as I said before, in the water, number one, breathe in above the water to the same tightness you did on land. Put your face underwater, breathe out. Take some time to do this. Now, when you're actually swimming, what do you need to be focusing on? You need to be focusing on a standard breath pattern, okay? You want to learn to be able to breathe normally, all right? So, you want to learn how to breathe slow. You want to learn how to breathe tempo. You want to learn how to breathe fast, okay? So what I recommend are swimming 75s or 100s, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go slow, medium, fast. Medium, fast, slow. Fast, slow, medium, okay? So slow, medium, fast, medium, fast, slow, slow, fast, slow, medium. So you're going to do these in sets of 3. Okay? Now you can do 75s. You can do 100s. So you can... I recommend 75s, actually. 75s will work a lot better. So what you're focusing on these 25s within each 75 is you're focusing on maintaining steady breathing while under various stress loads. Okay? Easy. Your arms are going to be moving slower, or they should be moving slower. And because of this, you're going to have more time. You're going to have more time with your arm out of the water, taking your breath, more pull with your face in the water, breathing out. Now for this one, I do kind of recommend breathing every stroke. So you're going to take a breath, put your face down. Take a breath, put your face down. Take a breath, put your face down. So what you're focusing on is taking your breath, closing your mouth, pushing it out underwater, close the mouth, take the breath. All right? So we're working on the actual mechanics of the breath itself in these 75s of drill. So as you push the air out, you're gonna push the air out with your face in the water. You're gonna start rolling to the side. Close your mouth when you're at about 45 degrees. Pop your head out of the water. Take your breath. Close the mouth. Face back in the water. And then when you're back at 45 degrees, start the breath out. So you want to kind of close and open the mouth when your face is at the 45. Not when your face is down, not when you're down. Breathe it out. You want to breathe. Okay? So you're going to breathe while your face is sweeping back down to the lower position. And then you're going to continue to push that air out while your face is in the water, and then until you get to here. All right? So then you're going to close the mouth, and then just when your face breaks the water, or when your mouth breaks out of the water, take your breath. Close the mouth, and then breathe out when your face goes back down. So this is going to help with the efficiency of your breathing, because you're going to have more time. You're going to have more time to push air out, and you're going to have the maximal amount of time to draw that air in. So now really work on that with the slow, because then at tempo, you're going to be required to move your arms quickly. Okay? So you're going to be moving your arms faster. So this means you will have a slightly shorter window to take your breaths in. So when we do breathing during the medium and fast parts, we're now more working on our breath economy, to where we are able to efficiently, within the time window, push the air out and then bring the air back in. Okay? So as we swim, we're really starting to focus on the tempo ones. We're really starting to focus on pushing air out, breathing air back in. Okay, now the sprint, the really fast one. What we're really hyper focused on the fast one, is simply working on maintaining control. We want to be able to harness all of that strength and all of that power of our sprinting stroke, and we want to be able to maintain the breaths. Okay? For sprints, I actually recommend breathing every 4. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you breathe every 4, you will be holding your breath for a little bit longer. So you're going to push the air out, hold. Okay? Push the air out, close the mouth, and take those extra if you need one, it should be about one and a half extra stroke, and then take your breath in and then put your face back down. What we're focusing on is being able to breathe without breaking stroke tempo. All right, a huge mistake I see a lot of beginner swimmers and younger swimmers do is when they're trying to swim fast, they go, you know, they move their arms a mile a minute, but then they stop for like a second or two to take a breath. It's like, that's not how this is all supposed to work. So what we're really focusing in here on the sprints is being able to breathe in and breathe out within a much shorter time frame. And remember, when we're sprinting, our body is totally sucking up all that oxygen. This is why you can't sprint for very long. You, especially in swimming, unless you've trained a long time doing this. Because number one, you do not have a lot of time to breathe. Number two, you're outputting an insane amount of energy within the 50. Okay, your body is producing lactic acid on overtime now. So being able to breathe in and effectively get that carbon dioxide out of your system will allow you to swim faster for longer. So that kind of encapsulates this whole concept of how do we breathe, and more or less what is it that we want to be focusing on during actual swimming. So now let's kind of get into some do's and don'ts. This is kind of more of a random grab bag of a bunch of stuff I've thought up off the top of my head that have to do with swimming. The actual impetus of this episode was from a comment. Let's see here. That's weird. Oh, got it. Okay. This was, whoops. Here, hold on. Let me grab that comment real quick. Let's see here. We're gonna click there, scroll down. And the comment was from the post I made last week. Let's see here. Okay, here it is. This is from Larry. She says, not sure if this has been covered and not exactly sure how to explain it. I'm an adult onset swimmer and I've wondered how to breathe off the wall. I don't flip turn, but when I'm a good speed set, it always feels I'm more out of breath after the turn than if I was doing the same effort in a continuous stretch in open water. Okay, so do's and don'ts of breathing in and out of turns. So typically, back in my swimming days, we always had the adage of don't breathe into the turn, don't breathe out of the turn. We were conditioned to never take a breath in our last stroke coming into the flip turn, and when we push off in our streamline, we were conditioned to not take that stroke coming out of the turn. So why is this? Well, number one, it's not as strong. You're going to be losing strength. You're going to lose a little bit of strength coming out of the turn if you are taking your breath. Okay? Number two, breaks hydrodynamics. Your breath stroke theoretically should be the same as your non-breath stroke, but you lose efficiency because you are breathing. Now, obviously, I don't have any numbers associated with this. This is just rate of perceived exertion kind of a thing. You feel like you're just not as fast when you take that breath with that first stroke. And it's hard. It's not easy. Not easy to be able to do that. You try it. Have fun with it. do some stuff, and when you're coming to the wall, don't take a breath into the wall. Okay, so flip turns or not, You want to kind of make it a decent habit to make sure your oxygen supplied levels are taken care of. Okay. As triathletes, we don't really worry too much about this kind of stuff because 95% of the time we're swimming in open water and there's no turns. So we want to focus more on kind of overall training efficiency rather than, what's the proper way to push off the wall and get into the stroke? Where should you be taking your breath? Don't worry about any of that. Not important. What's important is you take care of your oxygen levels consistently, okay? So if you breathe into the wall, if you breathe out of the wall, doesn't really matter. I'm not, unless you really want to hit that, sub 50-second PR, honestly, that's the only time you're going to really start focusing on stuff like that. Like sincerely, don't worry about breathing in or out of the wall. Not something you need to worry about. However, we need to worry about our overall oxygen intake and exhaling during the course of the length. So hold on. So what we're doing is we need to first work on, just like I talked about for the first about 20 minutes of this video, work on the efficiency of pushing air out and bringing air in. That's number one, first and foremost, because what winds up happening is as you swim down the lane, your body winds up, building up the lactic acid. Now, if you're trying to swim 50, 100, 150, 200, and a lot more, that lactic acid buildup is going to accumulate and you're going to be fighting a losing battle because you're not efficiently pushing that carbon dioxide out. Carbon dioxide stays in your system, produces lactic acid. If you're not getting rid, and once it starts producing, it's a little hard for it to go away. And the only way that you can make it go away is if you slow the tempo down, increase the amount of carbon dioxide you're pushing out of the system, increase the amount of oxygen that you're bringing into the system, okay? Same concept as lactate flushing. You do some faster sets, build up the lactate, and then some active recovery helps push and circulate that lactic acid through your body, and you wind up ultimately exhaling carbon dioxide out of your system. So exhaling that carbon dioxide is key to resisting the lactic acid buildup in your system. Obviously, it's not going to prevent it from backing it up. It's not going to magically scrub it all away, but your best bet is being consistently pushing out that carbon dioxide. So when we go into the turn, now whether you're doing flip turn or open turn, honestly, flip turn is actually going to give you a bit of a penalty on your oxygen supply. Because as you come in, you're going to flip turn, you're going to push air out your nose. Okay, remember we talked about this. When we flip turn, you got to push air out your nose. Got to do it. I do it subconsciously now. And I only have to do it for a very short amount of time because my body is now trained after many years of doing flip turns to where I know exactly how much air I got to push out of my nose to where I don't get a schnoz full of water. So you push that out and then you push off, and then I wind up breathing out just a little bit more before I start swimming and then take that first breath. So for a lot of you that are doing open turns, you actually get a little bit of a bonus here. You get a bonus breath halfway through your turn. So you're going to come into the wall, put your hand here, take a breath, get underwater, and push off. So actually, I should do an open turn. I need to do an open turn video. I think I'll do that for next week. I'll do open turns next week. Because I know a lot of you do open turns because you haven't been able to comprehend and actually do the flip turn. I think next week I will do an open turn video. So anyway, so when you go into the water, you're gonna touch, breathe in. Sorry, got another yawn coming. Oh yeah. Ugh, sorry. Like I said before, last night's sleep was not that good. So I do thank all of you that are watching, and all of you that put up with my early morning shenanery. So touch, breathe underwater, push off, and then hold your breath while you're underwater. So for a lot of you, and especially with our commenter, oh, that's weird. I lost the comment. From Larry, when I'm doing speed set, I always feel more out of breath after the turn than if I was doing the same effort in a continuous stretch in open water. So what's happening is when you push off and you don't take, and you actually are forced to hold your breath for a consistent amount of time, what winds up happening is that holding your breath is simply exacerbating the accumulation of the CO2. So with this, your body is definitely feeling that effects of holding the breath, because your body is now accumulating more CO2 faster, especially during the speed sets. So if you're really pushing a sprint, this is actually really, really, really normal. Okay? This is really normal. Because when you're speeding down the pool, especially now that I look at this, 100%, this is actually a lot more normal than she probably thinks it is. When you're doing a hard 50, a hard 75, or a hard 100, 100%, especially if you're doing 100 and you're doing 100 all out, that last turn is death. That last turn, it hurts so bad. Especially on backstroke, when your mouth is exposed to the air the entire time you swim backstroke. And now remember, I went a 49.200 backstroke. I swam backstroke faster than most of you can ever possibly dream of swimming freestyle. But basically, that last turn, the third turn, is the killer. It hurts so bad. You're pushing off and you're speeding down underwater with the dolphin kick, and it's like it hurts. It really hurts. So don't feel bad, especially if you're doing sprint. If you're doing best, if you're trying to PR your 100 freestyle in the pool, and you're going hard, and you make that turn, and you're pushing off, and your lungs just feel like death. It's okay. You're good. All right? Now, if you're swimming nice and easy, and you push off, and your lungs feel like death, okay, that's what we talked about. That's what we covered for the first 20 minutes. But if you are doing any kind of sprint work and your lungs are burning when you're off the wall, you're good. You're actually doing good, because that's what we want to see. We want to see the lungs burning when you're actually pushing yourself, going a hard cadence, pushing with power. That's 100% normal. Very, 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 very standard. I should have checked that out. The speed set was the one word. Speed set. Okay, 2 words. That was the 2 words. I didn't really realize when I was reading that comment. But yes, if you're doing sprints, and especially like a hard 100 to PR your 100, third turn always feels like death. First turn feels pretty good. Second turn hurts. Third turn, you're dead. So yeah. So that kind of answers that question. But in terms of swimming for long distances. For long distances, what you need to do is you need to become very disciplined at how long you stay underneath the water off of each turn. Now, I highly recommend, if you do basically exclusive pool swimming, which I know most every one of you does, it's highly recommended to learn how to push off underneath the water. Pushing and actually breathing out has a huge component of that. Where if you go underwater, breathe out about 3/4 of your air supply. Sorry, that was a big yawn. So what that does is that decreases the amount of internal ballast inside of you. So it allows you to stay underwater and then learn how to push off in a streamline. So hand over hand, reach overhead, close your mouth, push off. Get a couple dolphin kicks in, learn some dolphin kick, do some flutter kicking. So pushing off underneath the water and getting a good streamline in under the water, all right? Because pushing off at the water surface causes an insane amount of turbulent forces. And what winds up happening with these turbulent forces is they slow you down significantly. I've seen some people slow down so much they might as well have not even pushed off the wall at all. So the whole reason for the push off is we're allowing our feet to push off the wall and give us a little bit of boost into swimming the next lap. So what I always tell my students when I'm teaching them about underwaters, and trust me, underwater push-offs is almost always the number one thing I work on with them. I work on it every single time. I go, okay, push off underwater in a streamline, 3 to 4 dolphin kicks, swim 3 strokes, and then stop. That is very standard of what I teach my students, because especially in pool swimming, the longer you are efficiently underwater, the faster you're going to be, because that instance where you push off the wall in a streamline is actually the fastest that you're going to be able to go. Using your strong leg muscles, getting a big jump off the wall, and you're off to the races with your dolphin kick in a very streamlined position. Once you break that streamline, you actually do wind up going just a little bit slower than about that first second or two off the wall. So maximize that amount, get underwater, avoid the turbulent forces of pushing off on top of the water. You're going to find your push-offs are going to become a lot more effective. Now, how does that relate to our breathing discussion? So with our breathing discussion, what we need to focus on is how long do we stay in our underwater position. Now, I get kids that do dolphin kick and they go, They literally come to a dead stop underwater and then they go, whoop. They go far too deep. They do underwater kicks and they just go, whack. They start swimming. I'm like, no, you need to go whoop. And then they have no control. They have no control. So it's something that you got to teach them over time, and get them to really start working on it during the actual practices themselves. So for a lot of us that want to be swimming longer distances, if you want to be able to swim 2, 3, 4, 500,000 mile, 2,000 yards in a pool, what you're going to want to be doing is you're going to want to be very disciplined of how long after you push off the wall in order to take your first breath. So typically what I like to do if I'm swimming a distance set, like if I just tell myself, okay, well, I got about 20 minutes before my next lesson, I'm going to get in a solid 1,000. So if I'm going to get a solid 1,000, I'm going to push off the wall. I'm taking about 2 to 3 kicks. 2 to 3 dolphin kicks underwater, 1, 2, 3, get into the stroke. Usually I'm very lazy and I always breathe first stroke off of the streamline. Once again, doesn't matter. I'm not swimming this for time. I don't really care about this particular technique anymore. All I do is just get up and start swimming. So then you need to be disciplined. So if you hold your breath and do 6, 7, 8 dolphin kicks off that first one, you're already loading your body up with CO2 much more than it really needs to be. So we have to remember, the longer you hold your breath, the more CO2 is in your system. This isn't what we do on the bike and the run. We don't really hold our breath on the bike and the run. I mean, the only time we technically do this is if we're eating a food, eating a gel, drinking a bottle, stuff like that. In swimming, we're doing it all the time. We're actually holding our breath a whole lot more than we do on the bike or the run. But if we normalize it, if we increase the efficiency at which we expel air and intake air, it's going to allow you to swim for longer. Then after that, it's all about technique. Which, yes, speaking about technique, and I do realize I should have talked about this earlier in the episode, but if you would like to actually work with me physically, first thing you got to do is be in California, in the Los Angeles area. I do year-round one-on-one coaching. I also do multiple people if you want to save a little bit of money. So I do one-on-one coaching in my local town. So on the link tree that I just posted, you can go here. Let me show the link tree. I don't get to show the link tree very often. So then we're going to do hold on, that one, and then analysis, as I have my stuff here. So so this is the link tree. If you click the link tree, this is what you get. So everything up here, this has to do with my my live streaming. I do live streaming most nights. I also broadcast my my whoosh workouts on the bike. So they're most mornings. So if you want to join one of those channels, go right on ahead. It's a good time. Right now at nights, I'm playing Chrono Trigger and Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. So if you like those games, go check out my live stream at nights. Here's the Amazon, and then for those that aren't with Zoot, but if you want to book a lesson with me, so remember, this is actually to book a lesson. This isn't like this puts you on the list. So you're gonna go down here to triathlete lessons, and then basically, so the only day left that I have in August is the 28th. But then if you look ahead, you see I have all these openings. So you click on a date, click on a time, enter your information, and bam, you're booked. So typically, I'm mostly in the Los Angeles County area. Just one thing of note, I can only do my lessons during the weekdays from 5:30 until 7. 5:30 until 7. Those are the only times I can do lessons. So plan accordingly. If you live near Los Angeles, I'm eastern Los Angeles County. So basically almost on the border of San Bernardino County. So 210-57, okay? That's exactly where my town is. Literally 210 to the 57. So if you know Southern California, you know exactly where that is. So that's where I teach my lessons. So plan accordingly if you want to sign up for a lesson. I'm also feralswimtech@gmail.com if you got any other questions about the live lessons. I do one-on-one stroke technique reviews. I just had a great lesson with Derek. So as you can see here, this is very similar to this setup right here. So send me your video. I will do a video on the stroke technique. I'll give you about 3. I usually give about 3 different things to work on. So if you are interested in that, you don't live in Los Angeles County area, this is a free service I provide. I do ask for donations. So if you're willing to donate, that's fantastic. But yeah, also, if you are interested in donating just because you like the live stream, just remember, Zoot does not pay me to do this. I get freebies every once in a while. I'm actually getting something in October I'm pretty excited for. Can't really let that cat out of the bag just yet. So so I don't know if I can talk about it yet. I've been contacted by Mark. He's going to send me something to test. Pretty excited for it. But if you would like to donate, Venmo, great way to donate. feralswimtech@gmail.com. Just send me an email there. I'll let you know. Give you those details. Also, Dynamic Triathlete. There's a good link here for it. 10% off with offer code SWIM. Don't really have a good tie-in for Dynamic Triathlete on this episode. But yeah, if you want to get more flexible, dynamictriathlete.com, use offer code SWIM, SWIM, no quotation marks. That'll get you 10% off your subscription. So it's about $80 for the entire year for a really good stretching regimen. And honestly, I talk about it all the time. Stretching with swimming is going to pay dividends. Like, you're increasing your range of motion, especially hip flexors. Hip flexors kill people when it comes to kicking. If you can get a good daily stretching regimen, hopefully through dynamictriathlete.com, if you get a good daily stretching regimen, that's going to really help you out with your body positioning. And then there's just a bunch of other stuff down there. If you want to join my Discord, there's a Discord button down there. That's mainly for my gaming channel. I think I got like one guy in there that's actually a swimmer guy, but it's basically us screwing around, having a good time. So anyway, that's how you get in contact with me through the link tree. So anyway, yeah, I'm kind of. Okay. So last thing we're going to talk about for the last about 10 or so minutes. 1 second, hold on. Last thing we're going to talk about is racing. Do's and don'ts of breathing while racing, okay? So, number 1, don't go out like a jackrabbit, okay? Please don't go out like a jackrabbit. Now, one thing to understand about the swim is that, let's see here. For video analysis, do you have instructions on how to shoot or angle of camera for your analysis? Any stroke, any video is good video. Let me see here. Let me pull my video, my own video here. Okay, so this is a video that I took for last week's episode. So video like this is super good. Okay. So along the side, you're kind of at about a 45-degree angle. So this allows me to be able to see some stuff on top of the water. I recommend you get some underwater footage too. Let me actually pull up. Let me pull up that video that I had that I did last time. My last video that I did. So if we go here, gonna bring that out here. Gonna do Derek. Derek is a member of Team Zoot, and he's totally cool with me showing off some stuff here. So when you're so you're gonna see him swim from over here. So this is kind of underneath the water. There he is. There he is. So you see, you're kind of underneath the water, shooting up from the side. And then if you get under, let me show you here. So kind of underwater from the side, you can have someone hold the camera. If you can find a little suction mount, suction it to the bottom of the pool, that would also be great. And then right here, this is a money shot right here. This is one of the most absolute effective. Oh, you know what? Let me drag that over just a little bit. This right here is one of the most effective camera angles that you can get. Either if you can get it centered, if you can get someone to hold the camera at the end of the lane, suction cup it to the large gloss tiles underneath the water, or if you can just get it anchored underneath the water and shoot up at about 45 degrees. This is one of my favorite camera angles to work with. There is so much information that I get, especially with the underwater. However, it's also important to get stuff above the water too. Let me see. There you are. So being right here at water level is helpful, but if you're actually about 4 feet above and looking down, that's actually a little bit better. And then the other one that I really like, let me see if I can't remember if I used it on this episode or not. I think, let's see here. I think Mikey has that. Yeah, there it is. So this is the other, hold on. There you go. This is also a really good angle right here when you're swimming towards the camera. The reason why is this helps me see body alignment really good. And I think with Mikey, what was I looking for with Mikey? I can't remember what I was looking for with Mikey. Let's see here. And yes, these people have told me they're totally cool with me using these for promotion. So with this camera angle, what we're able to see is I'm able to see kind of what the catch looks like, where are they putting their hands in the water, how far are they putting their hands in front, so stuff like that. So like I always say, the more footage you can send me, the better. The more different angles you can send me, the better. However, if you can't get all the angles, that side view that I show of me swimming, which is this one, this angle is going to be the best bang for your buck. You know, if you can only get a little bit of footage, this is the best footage that you can do. There's a fair amount that I can tell with this, but yes, as always, underwater footage is much better. Okay, so yeah, so that's about the that's everything that you need to know with regards to yeah. So if you have a bunch of footage, here's what I recommend. Something that I learned from Derek's video is if you wanna send me footage, send me an email first, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Let me send you a Dropbox link. I will send you oh, sweet. Very good, Rob. That's what I love to hear. I love to hear that. Month 2 of dynamic triathlete and feeling a difference. That's fantastic. I love to hear that. Because I've always been more Gumby. When I was younger, dude, I was like psycho flexible. It was ridiculous how flexible I was. I mean, I was like almost Cirque du Soleil level flexibility, except I couldn't do the splits. I mean, but like my lower back was like Cirque du Soleil level of flexibility. You know, as I've gotten older in my 40s, yeah, I'm not near as flexible as I used to could. But yeah, so anyway, so with Derek, he sent me a very compressed video. The only problem with that is that really kills the quality. So DNS, if you're going to send me footage, send me an email first. You get the footage, send me an email. I will send you a Google Drive link. It's not a Dropbox, a Google Drive link. And I got plenty of space on my Google Drive. So just shoot me all the video, you know, standard file size. I don't care. Upload that to the Google Drive, and then I can grab that video, and that's the best quality for me to review. Now, if you got a potato cell phone, hey, that's fine. I'll take whatever video I can get. And honestly, I can analyze and I can see a lot of things, even from somewhat grainy video. So don't worry too much about it, but if you can, send me the original file size. Don't compress it. Don't send it to me via Facebook Messenger if you can avoid it. I've had some pretty bad videos sent through, bad quality in terms of like pixelations and compression and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, please send me original file size if at all possible. Yeah, okay. So yes, I need to get back on track and talk about racing do's and don'ts with breathing. So, avoid jackrabbit starting. Avoid getting into the churn, especially if you know you're not that good of a swimmer and it's a mass start. If it's kind of like a like a rolling start. Just kind of take it easy. Honestly, for the first, especially if you're doing it in open water and you're doing it in colder open water, what you really want to focus on for the first 100 is just getting your breathing under control, because you're going to be getting a shock from the difference in temperature from going in the air into the water. You're going to have a significant temperature difference. So your body's going to have to get used to that. So what you got to do is you got to keep yourself under control, probably for about 100 yards. If you can get through about 100, 150 yards, you're going to be golden. So then once you do that, you got to settle into your breathing. And this is why the dry land and pool swimming, really focusing on that breathing, is super important. One thing to consider is you're going to be wearing a wetsuit. That's going to add extra constriction onto your rib cage. So you're going to have to really account for this. This is why if you go and do some open water swim training, train your breathing. Do the same things you do in the pool in the open water. Really focus on wearing that wetsuit and being comfortable breathing in the wetsuit. I can't tell you how many times I see post-race posts on Pathetic Triathlete on Facebook, and people are saying, I DNF'd because I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe with this wetsuit on. I need recommendations. I can't breathe in this wetsuit. You can. You're not used to it. You got to train it. You got to become accustomed to it. It is a different animal, okay? So you got to take some time and work on breathing in the water with the wetsuit. You do the same drills that you do in the pool. Breathe in, underwater, breathe out, okay? Take some time, get used to all of this, because especially if you get a new wetsuit, it's going to be more tight. So you're going to need to take some time working on that. So then get into your breathing rhythm in your swim and don't lose it. Get a rhythm. Have a breathing plan. Because for me, typically, I breathe every 3 strokes when I'm swimming open water. So I breathe every 3 strokes and then every 6th stroke. So basically when I breathe to my right, I do my sight. I go breathe, 2, 3, breathe, 2, 3, sight, breathe, 2, 3, breathe, 2, 3. That works really well for me for at least the first half of the race. And remember, I only do sprints in Olympics, so I'm only swimming a mile at most. So for me, it works really well to do breathe every 3, and then about halfway 3/4 through the race, I go to breathing every stroke. Or mostly I go to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I take 3 breaths in a row, and then I take 4 strokes in a row without a breath. So I do mostly like an 8 count. That helps me out significantly, keep my head straight without it going into psycho dizzy la la land, because I'm moving my head too much, sloshing the brain around inside my dome, and then that triggers a little bit of dizziness. I've actually had a time where I actually legitimately triggered some vertigo symptoms when okay, thank you, camera, for autofocusing when I don't want you to. I actually triggered legitimate vertigo symptoms when I was on a 2,000-yard swim. I actually had to cut it. I was wanting to swim 2,000 yards. I got through about 1,700 yards, and then my world just started spinning, and I couldn't get it to stop. Like, it was spinning this way, which was very strange. So because of that, I had to use my rescue buoy as a flotation device. I kind of put it under my head, and I just kept my head out of the water and just really focused on floating with the wetsuit. And I was only about 25 yards away from shore, so it wasn't like I was off in the middle of the lake and my life was sincerely in danger. But there's a lot of things that it could have been. I kind of been banking on dehydration because I had a lesson that morning and I was speaking for an hour solid, and then I tried to swim 2,000 yards without really hydrating. I think it was the dehydration. But anyway, so breathing, yes, breathing with wetsuits, absolutely important to do. So that's going to be it for today. I can't really think of anything else. So feralswimtech@gmail.com. If you got any questions whatsoever, Feral Swim Tech on Instagram, Feral Swim Tech on YouTube, Feral Swim Tech on Rumble. This is this is an episode that actually is super important, and a lot of people just kind of gloss over it. So I hope you take some time, work on the breathing technique stuffs. So remember, if you like what you see here, hit that like button here on the video. Helps the guys at Team Zoot know that you really like this content. I'm actually working to try and get on with Mark for a Friday Team Zoot so we can actually talk about kind of more swim technique in general. Because I know Mark has been on a journey to improve his swim form. I feel sad he hasn't called me. He'll never call me. I'm joking. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I got to get my kids ready for the day. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Those that did, remember this is a live stream. But if you're watching this as a VOD, comment, hit the comment section. I do check them out and I do respond to the comments. Thank you, DNS. If you want more help, feralswimtech@gmail.com. Sincerely, email me. I don't care. I'm at my computer all day, every day. So you send me an email, I can respond within about 15 minutes. Unless you email like after work hours, then maybe I'm not like at my computer all the time. So anyway, I got to get out of here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Please keep training. And until later, my friends, good night, Isaiah Norris. Whoever you are, I'm out of here. Goodbye, everyone.